car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week I'm going to update you on what's going on with my Monogram 96 Corvette Grand Sport here. And I've been, playing with this off and on, and not really putting in a valiant effort towards it, but I've been enjoying it and working on it a little bit here and there. As the mood progresses, I should say, as I'm really not putting serious effort into any particular one other than my 2020 Shelby. You saw the video of me fixing the paint on that one, trying to stay focused on that one. But this one is one that I'm really enjoying, and it's easy to stay focused on, or I want to work on this one, even though I told myself not to, which is, the funny part of all of it. Plus, it's a little bit different. It's just a little bit different of a challenge, and especially with the way it's built and assembled. I mean, going through the instructions and stuff, like step one is putting the windshield in, on the body and some of that stuff. So it's kind of weird, do the firewall. And then you build the interior. So you do all that, but got to get the body painted and everything. And then slip it all into the body. And then slip the chassis in. And then the engine and tranny goes in. So I've been doing it in sub-assemblies, of course. Just working on pieces here and there. And enjoying it as we go along. So I'll show you some of the progress on that and some of the things I'm kind of running into. I did finish the interior, and I'm real happy with the way this came out there. So there's the Grand Sport decals on the seats there, and those are raised kit decals, and just some detail painting on the dash, gray buttons on the black, and the gauge cluster it's in there that's raised decal also, which you can kind of see. It's kind of hard to see, and camera's having trouble focusing on it, but I'm real happy with the way this came out. And then masked and did the semi-gloss back, and the under sections of the dash are red as well. So that's the two-tone red interior, and I'm real happy with the way this came out. And then the firewall part of it, didn't really do too much of this. It's pretty well hidden when it's in there, but made sure I painted the underside, because when you have the chassis, that's going to be visible. So some of that's going to be visible. So planning ahead and filling in the areas, but this won't be with the way the body's made and the way this tucks in. So you won't see any of that. And sometimes I'll still brush paint that and black that out, but that's just me. But made sure it got all in here and the channels and stuff when I airbrushed it. So, get a little bit of detail painting for this as well, but I'll get to that. But really happy with the interior. Enjoyed building it, even though it's kind of simple, but works out really well. Now, one thing I am running into with the raised kit decals is there isn't really any directions on where they go. So, you got some directions in here. Let's put this down over here. But you get these sheets, and you got all these, but there's actually nothing in here that tells you what they're for. And like those, I assume those are for the valve covers, but you can see the scale difference there as far as how big they are versus, where they would go, if that's where they're supposed to go. Got another set of Grand Sport ones, looks like, for the seats. So detailed that up. And then you've got, that goes on top of the throttle body. That's the Grand Sport that goes right on top of the throttle body with the 6 bolts. If I can get the focus on it, which is pretty cool, but it's the same thing here. It's bigger than the throttle body. It's kind of hard to put the two next to each other. But it appears to be about the same size as this. And then some of these other ones, these cautions and stuff, I'm just looking very carefully at all the reference material to see where they go. But I'm enjoying them. And then, get all the stripes on here and then where some of these actually go. Some of them are obvious, but some of these other ones, I'm not really sure where those are going, because they really don't have gauges like that. So it's kind of odd with that dash. But, it did react well to the material, and you can really see the white when I turn it like this. And, getting that done. But this is all just painted, detail painted, silver ribs right here across the top of the intake manifold. And this is the LT4 engine. And it came out pretty nice. I'm really happy with the way it came out as far as detail painting and going. And I picked that out with a toothpick. And then the Corvette emblems here I'll probably put a little bit of white in there to kind of drop the flags a little bit, but we'll see how she comes out and the rest of it. But like how the engine came out, it's got this long shaft and everything, and a lot of this is going to be hidden by the exhaust when it's all bolted in and it's in there. And I did the pan and steel, aluminum tranny, steel pan, kind of liking the colors on that, and steel manifolds, aluminum heads. But just picking the colors out, and did the EGR valve in gold, which is how a lot of them were. And it's hidden pretty well in there, and you may not be able to see that by the time everything's bolted or glued in place on the motor. So it'll be real interesting to see how that comes out. But so the motor's pretty much ready, and a lot of the chassis stuff is ready. And then the body, I decided I was gonna paint it. And this is what I decided to use, is Olds Engine Blue Metallic. This is an old Testors paint, Model Master. Unfortunately not available, but I had a couple of jars of it. And it's real close to the Admiral Blue, which is what the real car is. And I've used this paint many times. I just love this paint, even though you really can't get it anymore. And of course, I was going to spray a couple of Oldsmobile engines blue as well, which is what it's really meant for. But so I have this, and I had a couple of bottles. This is the newest bottle, and I had the old bottle. Now, a couple of things when using this stuff, and if you know you're going to mix it and spray it, and you know you're going to need quite a bit of it. So a couple of things happened here. Paint came out very nice, and that's the original molded in color, and it's a real nice match to that color. So I didn't prime it, and just put it on there real nice. But for some reason, when I do the Testors paints, a lot of times there seems to be more stuff in the paint, so it tends to spit stuff, and I didn't filter it. But the problem I had is this stuff, it's real thick, and the metallic flakes really build up at the bottom. So you got to be careful with that and watch it. Now, when it comes to real paint or doing this, if you know you're going to be using from 2 different batches or 2 bottles, it's best to pour them both in one, mix it all together so that the color is uniform, and then spray from that entire batch. Even though you may have to load the paint gun or the airbrush multiple times, put all your paint that you plan to use, and that's the trick, plan to use, in one jar, mix it all together so that you have some color uniformity. So if you're paying attention, you'll see what I'm talking about here. So I did it in a couple of different batches. So if you notice, the camera picks it up. This is a little bit more blue, and this is a little bit more silver. And I just think it's because as the paint settles, more of the silver flakes get to the bottom. So I, opened up the fresh bottle and did more of the blue here than I did here. So here's where it really stands out. You can see the difference in the blue. This piece is a little bit darker blue, and this is more of a lighter silver blue, even though they're the exact same paint. And you can kind of see it on the side here. A little bit more blue, a little bit more silver. So, and same thing with the front bumper. Front bumper was sprayed with the same batch as the hood. So you can see the blue difference there between the two. So my eyes are very good at catching color. And so I can see it. It noticed it fairly quickly. I'm like, all right, the next thing to do is, there's a couple ways to fix this, but I decided I'm just not going to go that route. So, and I was trying to get the blue on the turn signals here, where they're kind of, the blue is to divide up the turn signals. And also painted the headlights, as far as those are body color, but the rest of the underhood, the entire underhood is black, other than the headlights when they're exposed. But one way to fix that is mix up, some more of this, and just loaded my airbrush and do another coat from this batch over all of it. That's one way to fix it. But since this is my last jar of this paint, and I really like to use it on the Oldsmobile motors, and I know I have a bunch of those 442s going, I decided I'm going to save this and use it for that. And so I'm going to throw this in the Purple Power cleaner, or the Castrol Super Clean. I always call it Purple Power, but I'll throw all this in the cleaner, strip all the paint off of it, and I'm just going to start over. And no real reason. The other reason, I should say, is I decided that Scale Finishes had their Black Friday sale, which by the time you see this will have ended. But I decided I was going to order the correct Admiral Blue paint from him. I also knew I needed at least 3 more colors for other kits and projects that I've kind of shown, kind of not, even though I've got a ton of his paint here from planned projects, but for whatever reason, I haven't been too eager to build some of those kits. But, you know, buy the primer, buy the paints, earmark them for certain kits and build them. And like, I swear I've got Saturn Yellow for that 70 GSX that I recently showed my build for. I probably had that paint for 4 or 5 years and I still haven't built that. And I've got other paints in there that I mark on the side of the bottle what they're for. I'll write them like my Ecto 1 here. You know, I do this to the bottle so I remember what I used it for. Ecto 1A Ghostbusters. And this is the Ermine White, but if you've been following my channel, I used this on the 60 Corvette Coves. I used it on the 59 Corvette. And I had a little bit left for the Corvette when I did the Coves on the 60. And I used up what was left. But when I messed that one up, I had to strip it and start over. So I had to buy a whole nother bottle of Ermine White, even though I used like that much on the Coves on that one. But I still had all of this. So I painted my Ecto 1A, because this is correct for 59 GM cars, the Corvette, and a lot of cars in 59 had this white. And that's a 59 Cadillac white. Now, don't truly know what the paint they used for the Ecto 1A, but it's a correct white and it's white. So that's what I use that one for. And I got tons of bottles marked what I plan to use them on. And sometimes I just use them on something else and then buy the bottle again. But anyway, that's kind of how I work. And my thought process, which is kind of mad, there really isn't a thought process. I just sit down and start working on something. And it's hard to stay focused on what I'm going to finish. So this one's going to get stripped as far as the blue is on that, and sit in the box for a little bit. And I got paint ordered for others that I plan on the channel. And what's coming up, and so I'll be of course bouncing around and starting, but I'm playing with multiple kits, and that's just how it is for me. But there's an update on this. Get this stripped, and then when the paint comes in, which is probably going to be beginning of next week, and I get some time to paint, this one will get painted, more decals and some of that stuff. So I'll show you another one of my projects next Saturday after this one, and show you what's going on with that, because of course I'm playing with others as well. And so look forward to seeing you this Saturday and showing you what's going on following week also. So thanks for your subscriptions, your comments, and your likes, your shares. Appreciate all of it. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Saturday.